Jennifer Aniston's dentist was a horrible boss. He expected her to do things that no one else had ever asked of her, and he was always demanding more of her time and effort. He was unorganized and seemed to have absolutely no understanding of how to run a dental office. He was always late to appointments, and he skipped out on his duties. Jennifer was expected to deal with all of his mess, while also performing the usual dental duties. This left her feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, and stressed out. He was often dismissive of her ideas, constantly belittling her work and undermining her efforts. Even when she did something right, he refused to recognize her in any way. He would also make inappropriate comments about her physical appearance and was always crossing the line of what was acceptable. He had this disturbing habit of making her do things that weren't part of her job. He wanted her to run errands or pick up breakfast for the entire office. His treatment of her was so oppressive that it made her question her abilities and her worth. She started to believe that she was never going to make it as a dentist. There were days when she would come in exhausted from being so overworked and he still had to find something wrong with her performance. He would often nitpick about the smallest details and then criticize her when she didn't get it right. This left her feeling frustrated and demoralized. At times, he would go weeks without giving her any kind of positive reinforcement, which made her feel completely insignificant. She was constantly threatened with corrective action if she didn't not meet his standards, even though she was always busting her butt. Every day was an uphill battle for Jennifer, and she had to fight the urge to give up and quit. Although her co-workers tried to be supportive, they could not take away the feelings of despair and frustration that she was feeling due to her horrible boss. This made it hard for her to focus on her job, and she felt like she was going nowhere in her career. She was constantly second-guessing herself, and felt like she was never enough for this horrible boss of hers. She wanted to prove that she was capable, and that she could do anything she set out to do, but it kept feeling like no matter how hard she worked, it was never enough. Jennifer was terrified that her horrible boss would eventually lead her to emotional burnout, and that she would eventually give up altogether. She started to get migraines more frequently as a result of the immense stress she was under, and it was all because of her horrible boss. Jennifer's mental health was really starting to suffer, and she was concerned that she was slowly slipping into depression. She knew she had to do something about him, but the fear of repercussion kept her from speaking up and out about her horrible boss. She tried to just put the whole situation out of her mind, and continue to work as hard as she could, hoping that one day the nightmare would be over. But her horrible boss kept trying to control her life and find ways to make it more miserable than it already was. He was unreasonable and unwilling to compromise, and would often make decisions out of sheer spite. It felt like Jennifer was constantly walking on eggshells around him, and that she was never safe from his wrath. Her horrible boss seemed to take pleasure in making her feel inferior and belittling her work, and it was wearing her down.